about a posting that I recently uploaded to my YouTube account on my timeline. Some people are curious as to what the article is about, the one that refers to Alzheimer's. Pretty much the article didn't really touch base about what Alzheimer's is all about. It forgot to mention the scientific aspect of Alzheimer's. And the reason for this is that they just try to keep a light focus on what children could do when they go to the doctor versus what causes Alzheimer's. But I felt it would be important to let people know about what is going on with their brain and their body because I try to have an informative forum where my friends and family could view and get update as to what is happening in the world. First is the usual gossip about friends and other people, just something different I like to include on my timeline. So basically, having worked in the field of mental and developmental disability as a counselor for 14 years, I think I'm well versed on the topic. I actually observed people with Alzheimer's and saw the degradation of what they've been going through on a mental level. Uh, the scientific cause of Alzheimer's involves the degradation or even the extraction of certain parts of the brain. One's memory is important in learning and doing new things and should always be intact. When the memory is tampered with via drugs, alcohol use, or other means, the older people get, the harder it is for them to remember certain things relevant to maintaining their independence. And I also read something in the Epoch Times. It's a very informative piece of news article, and they sort of scope out different parts of the brain in a sort of a color scheme where they made the frontal lobe red and they call that focus. They also made the top level you'd appear blue and say that's what B stands for your attention, the area where your attention is. Towards the back here is where they claim is the green area where your memory should be located. And further down there's like an orange portion that leads to the body and sends messages to the body, and that is where they call the creative side. So as humans we have evolved in a vertical upright position where we sort of process and see information on a vertical level. So we take things in through the eyes and it's processed via the focus part of our brain. We put it into focus, then it's transmitted to parts where it's like attention and even memory. And the memory retrieves certain prior knowledge that we have had over the years and process it so you could relate to the new knowledge or information you're receiving. When this is done, it is sent to the body and the body reacts accordingly. If it's a flight and fright response, then you'll probably know that if you see a dog barking at you and rushing towards you and they seem very mean-spirited, you should run. I tried that once, but that's a different story. The dog caught up with me and wasn't pleasant. My flight and fright response was delayed. So I know it's important and it's very sad when an Alzheimer's patient loses the use of their memory and having to succumb to just being basically vegetables or even like almost paralyzed. It is sad. I know the feeling because I've seen it one-on-one and I've tried to be there to counsel people. Another thing is about the difference between dogs or felines versus human way of transmitting certain sort of new stimuli or impulses. Dogs, for some reason, are actually lateral. So you'll find that the front part of their brain, where they refer to as the focus part, is red as well. Then the other part, the attention, as I said, top is blue, and the memory at the back. But the difference with dogs dogs don't actually learn anything, I'm sad to say. I may be mistaken because I'm not a veterinarian, but they actually just become conditioned. So you could actually condition a dog to do certain acts, whether singing, trying to speak, roll over, bushes, baked beans, or something. So the way they actually do that is in a mimicry sort of way, an imitation sort of way as to what humans would do. So they pretty much condition them to do something repeatedly, and then once they're able to do that, then for some reason you get their attention, and then they could focus on what is exactly taking place. It's slightly different, but hey, I love my canine brothers and sisters. So yes, I do give them credit for actually making the effort to do certain things as what we will call human activities, vague conditioning. Another aspect I would like to talk about is the whole carpal tunnel syndrome. There was an article as I posted in my medical news update section where it speaks about people having carpal tunnel syndrome from the overuse of certain cell phones. You have to understand that prolonged use of your fingers will give you pain and ache. The way to alleviate this is to sort of maybe do some yoga exercises or Pilates. I do a lot of Pilates. It strengthens and elongates your body and also help the blood to circulate. You could also do brisk walking, and that also help the blood to circulate when you walk and shake your hands to ensure that blood flows to the lower extremities of your body and your fingers. And that's about it. The reason why they can't really grasp certain things is because their fine motor skills and their gross motor skills vary. So you may have a lot of pain when you're doing any texting with your phones because your fine motor skills may be impaired or even overused. So I suggest that you just use a larger version, like the keyboard on a computer, and that will help you, especially if you're sending lengthy texts or emails. Well, not text, but lengthy emails. And that is it. Your health is very important. Stay tuned and keep updated.